the youngest an infant. Yahidne was deoccupied in April 2022, and I visited that September. On the ground floor, Russian soldiers had destroyed the furniture. On the walls, they left behind dehumanizing graffiti about Ukrainians. There was no electricity. By the light of my phone, I made my way down to the cellar and examined the children's drawings on its walls. I could read what they had written: "No to war." My children later helped me identify the characters, such as an imposter from the game Among Us. By a doorframe were two lists, written in chalk, of the names of the perished. On one side, those executed by the Russians, of whom, as best I could tell, there were 17. On the other, those who died from exhaustion or illness, of whom, best as I could tell, there were 10. By the time I arrived in Yahidne, the survivors were no longer in the cellar. Were they free? A liberation suggests a woe that has dissipated. But the adults need support, and the children a new school. It is so very important that the town is no longer occupied. But it would be wrong to end the story of Yahidne when the survivors emerged from underground, just as it would be wrong to end the story of Posad Pokrovske when the bombing stopped. The gentleman entrusted with the key to the Yahidne school asked for help to build a playground. It might seem like a strange desire amid a war of destruction. Russians killed children with missiles and kidnapped them for assimilation. But the absence of these crimes is not enough. Deoccupation is not enough. Children need places to play, run, and swim to practice being themselves. A child cannot create a park or a swimming pool. The joy of youth is to discover such things in the world. It takes collective work to build structures of freedom for the young as for the old. I came to Ukraine during the war while writing this book about freedom. Here, its subject is palpable all around. A month after Russia invaded Ukraine, I spoke with some Ukrainian lawmakers. We chose freedom when we did not run. We are fighting for freedom. Freedom itself is the choice. It was not just the politicians. Talking in wartime Ukraine to soldiers, to widows and farmers, to activists and journalists, I heard the word freedom over and over. It was interesting how they used it. With much of their country under genocidal occupation, Ukrainians would seem to have good reason to speak of freedom as a liberation from, as an absence of evil. No one did. When asked what they meant by freedom, not a single person with whom I spoke specified freedom from the Russians. One Ukrainian told me, "When we say freedom, we do not mean freedom from something." Another defined victory as being for something, not against something. The occupiers had gotten in the way of a sense that the world was opening up, that the next generation would have a better life, that decisions made now would matter in years to come. It was essential to remove repression, to gain what philosophers call negative freedom. But deoccupation, the removal of harm, was just a necessary condition for freedom, not the thing itself. A soldier and a rehabilitation center told me that freedom was about everyone having a chance to fulfill their own purposes after the war. A veteran awaiting a prosthesis said that freedom would be a smile on his son's face. A young soldier on leave said that freedom was about the children he would like to have. Their commander, in his hidden staff room, Valery Zaluzhny, told me that freedom meant a normal life with prospects. Freedom was a future when some things were the same and others were better. It was life expanding and growing. In this book, I aim to define freedom. The task begins with rescuing the word from overuse and abuse. I worry that, in my own country, the United States, we speak of freedom without considering what it is. Americans often have in mind the absence of something: occupation, oppression, or even government. An individual is free, we think, when the government is out of the way. Negative freedom is our common sense. To be sure, it is tempting to think of liberty as us against the world, which the notion of negative freedom allows us to do. If the barriers are the only